All right, season 2. We got Kristen's Story, and this one stars Bobcat Goldthwait. Oh my God, do I love Bobcat. His movies are awesome. Although I didn't really like his horror movie, Willow Creek, I know a lot of people who loved it though. Usually anyone who I talk to is like, I loved it. Maybe I need to give it another watch because I found it boring and I thought the ending was the dumbest thing I ever saw in my life. Risky, and I like that, but it didn't work for me. So, anyway, all right. But I love Bobcat. I mean, he's been in so many great movies. He's had so many great parts. Scrooged, I bring that up on here a lot. I just adore his character in that. His voice can be irritating to some, but I love it. I mean, we get a lot of the irritating voiced people in this show, like him and Gilbert Godfrey and people. So you got an annoying voice. I guess you got a job on it. Are You Afraid of the Dark? But I love Bobcat. I just think he's wonderful. Anyway, so there's this little girl, and she is obsessed with fairy tales, and it's just yet another, careful what you wish for, or it will come true. And it's pretty silly. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of this episode. All her friends are telling her to grow up. Her brother's constantly coming into her room and invading her privacy. Like, the parents don't seem to reprimand her brother much at all for sneaking into her room, hiding under her bed, coming into her room at night while she's sleeping and like wearing masks and like, dude, parents, get on it. This chick is like 13 years old. She's still a little kid, which I think is a little bit your fault too. So don't blame her for her actions, blame yourself. Okay, point the finger where it belongs, right into your eyeball. So yeah, then she goes to school and her friends are picking on her because there's this hot guy in school who's checking her out, and her friends are all jealous. So when he comes over to flirt with her friends like oust her for liking and playing with trolls still and reading fairy tales, and this of course upsets her, and so she runs off and she locks herself in her room, and she's holding the fairy tale book for the Sandman, and she wishes upon a star that everyone would just leave her alone. So she goes to sleep, and she wakes up inside her nightmare, I guess, and all of her family and everyone she knows is asleep forever, and she'll be left alone. And the Sandman has the most glaring, idiotic, freaking, weakness ever. He has a huge hourglass that's made of glass that's sitting right there next to him. He's not protecting it. He's not doing anything. And she just goes and breaks it, and it sets the thing free. Now, granted, then this episode ends with the Sandman at the end talking about like how if she knew the truth, she would have never went to sleep again. So another grim ending. I don't know what that is implying. Like she went to sleep again and she just has to continue to keep playing it out. It's on a repetitive cycle, like a Groundhog's Day thing, or was she still in the dream, or like a camp because she would have to go to sleep in order to get back into this predicament. So I'm not honestly sure what that implication is, but I know that it's definitely not pleasant. Like it wouldn't have been done that way if something wasn't going to happen bad to her. So I'm not exactly sure what was going to happen to her, but it did not end well for her. But as I said, I think like it's too childish. Like I know this is shows for kids, but there's episodes like this, they're just too childish. Like the way Bobcat plays it, as much as I like him, I'm not a fan of how they handled him and where he resides. Like he calls it the land of Nod, and the way he plays the scenes and everything, it just feels like it's for 5-year-olds. It doesn't work. I feel like it's not to the tone of this show. Like to go from like Prom Queen, Pinball Wizard, where they're like both like darker and creepier, and then to this one that just feels like it's for children. I don't know. I didn't like the transition here. So season 2 is off to a bad start. Let's move on.